Ever heard that saying? Looks can be deceiving.
Yeah.
Well, get ready, because today's deep dive is all about a woman who takes that phrase to a whole new level, a chilling level, actually.
Oh, intrigue already. I'm ready.
We're going deep into the story of Sharon Kin, accused of not one, but two murders, and a woman who, well, seemed to just dance around the justice system.
2 murders. Okay, you've got my attention.
It's a wild story, a real head-scratcher full of unanswered questions.
And what are our sources for this deep dive? What rabbit hole are we jumping down?
So we're working with excerpts from the Morbid podcast, episodes 518 and 519. And they really get into her life, her story, with a conversational feel, almost intimate, you could say.
Morbid podcast, huh? I've heard of that one. They do have a knack for storytelling, so where do we start?
Let's rewind all the way back to Sharon's early life. Imagine, it's like reading the first few chapters of a suspense novel, a bit unsettling.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Troubled childhood, distant parents. Oh, and there's this strange story she made up about a first husband who died.
A fictional husband. Right from the start, we're seeing a pattern of leaving tales, huh?
Exactly, a tendency to create narratives, almost like, I don't know, practicing for something bigger, darker.
Foreshadowing, I like it.
Then enter James Kin, a devout Mormon student, 6 years older than Sharon.
Significant age difference. Interesting.
And despite that, she goes after him, full force, like she saw him as a way out and escape from her, well, boring small-town life.
Ah, the classic tale of ambition and a yearning for something more.
But here's the kicker. She fakes a pregnancy to pressure him into marriage.
Whoa, hold on. A fabricated pregnancy. That's a bold move. Manipulative, even.
Manipulation 101. Playing on societal expectations,
Playing the damsel in distress card, using his sense of duty against him. Clever, but cruel.
Totally. But their marriage wasn't the fairy tale she dreamed of.
Oh, so it wasn't happily ever after. What went wrong?
Seeing constant negativity, reckless spending, strained their finances. Their relationship with James's family was a mess. It's like she was self-sabotaging,
Interesting. Intentionally creating chaos. There's a psychology term for that, I'm sure.
And get this. She treated her income as separate, like it had nothing to do with the family, while racking up charges on James's accounts.
Talk about a sense of entitlement. No regard for shared responsibility whatsoever.
None. And the children, she relied heavily on babysitters. Neglected their needs while she was off doing who knows what.
Neglecting her children, that's a red flag. Definitely paints a concerning picture of her priorities.
Now hold on tight, because this is where things take a truly dark turn. James dies.
Oh no, what happened?
Picture this. A frantic phone call from a wife claiming her husband had a heart attack. But when the police arrive, he's got a bullet in his head.
Hold up. A heart attack and a bullet wound. Something doesn't add up here.
Right. And then comes the jaw-dropping claim. She blames their 2-year-old daughter, Dana.
Blaming a toddler. That's beyond believable.
I know, right? And the police. Well, let's just say their investigation wasn't exactly thorough. No gunshot residue tests. Took the family's word about James's supposed carelessness with guns. Like, come on.
So many missed opportunities to uncover the truth. Almost feels like they were eager to believe the simplest explanation, no matter how unlikely.
And let's not forget, Sharon benefited big time from his death. Life insurance payout, inherited their house.
Okay, now that raises some serious eyebrows. It's one thing to have a tragic accident, but the immediate financial gain.
Right. It casts a huge shadow over that accidental death ruling, especially with her history of manipulation.
Connecting the dots, we've got inconsistent stories, suspicious behavior, and suddenly she's financially secure.
It makes you wonder, was this a tragic accident or a calculated scheme to break free from a marriage that no longer served her?
That is the million-dollar question, and I have a feeling this is just the beginning of the story.
You're absolutely right. And trust me, it only gets wilder from here. Sharon's story takes a sharp turn down a path paved with even more suspicious deaths and baffling legal twists.
Oh boy. I can't wait to hear what happens next.
Buckle up. We're going deeper into the labyrinth of Sharon Kin's life next time.
I'm on the edge of my seat already. So Sharon, she didn't waste any time, did she?
Not exactly.
Still under suspicion for James's death, and she starts an affair with Walter Jones, a married car salesman.
Bold move, right?
To say the least.
It's almost like she had this talent, I guess you could say, for finding men she could control. Men who were, I don't know, vulnerable to her charms, easily drawn in maybe.
Sounds like a classic manipulator.
And Walter, married with kids, falls head over heels for her.
Yeah.
She even convinces him she's pregnant with his child.
No! You're kidding. Using that pregnancy card again.
Yep. parenthood, obligation, control. The same playbook.
Exploiting those societal expectations, that deep-seated desire to do the right thing. It's a pattern for sure. But this time things get really complicated.
Yeah, this is where it gets really bad. Walter's wife, Patricia Jones, turns up dead.
Oh my God.
Murdered, multiple gunshot wounds.
Brutal. And guess who was the last person seen with Patricia?
Sharon.
Of course.
It's like from person of interest to prime suspect, just like that.
The timing is, well, incredibly suspicious, but here's the thing that really gets me. The autopsy, it was a mess, completely botched.
What do you mean?
The coroner was negligent, unbelievably so. Bullets still in the body, refused to check the stomach content, said it was too messy.
Seriously.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's just beyond comprehension. They lost crucial evidence, the kind of stuff that could have tied Sharon directly to the murder.
So frustrating. You're right. It's like a vital piece of the puzzle just tossed aside. A stark reminder that human error, even in the justice system, can have devastating consequences.
Exactly. But despite all that, the prosecution pushed forward.
Had to, right?
Circumstantial evidence, witness testimonies, they built a case placing Sharon with Patricia shortly before she disappeared. It wasn't strong, but it was something.
An uphill battle, you could say. And Sharon's defense, they were good. They really played on the weaknesses of the prosecution's case.
No murder weapon, shaky timeline, I bet they hammered those points home. Casting doubt, planting that seed of uncertainty in the jurors' minds.
And it worked. Sharon was acquitted.
Wow. Got away with it, at least for Patricia's murder.
For now. But remember those charges for James's death? They came back to haunt her.
Oh, right, back into the courtroom she goes. What happened this time?
The prosecution had a key witness, John Balds, an ex-boyfriend. He claimed Sharon offered him money to kill James.
Whoa, a hitman plot. That's a game changer.
Right. But during the trial, Balds changes his story. Says it was all a joke.
A joke about murder. Who jokes about that?
Right. Seems more likely he was pressured, maybe threatened, to retract his statement.
Possibly, yeah. Sharon's manipulation might have gone beyond just her romantic partners, silencing anyone who could expose her.
Who knows? But despite the inconsistencies, the jury found her guilty.
So she's finally going to prison.
Sentenced to life. But her legal team, they were relentless. Appeals, motions, they found administrative errors from the trial, and then, boom.
What? What happened?
The Supreme Court overturns the verdict, grants her a new trial.
You're kidding, after a life sentence.
And get this, she's released on bail while waiting for the new trial. It's like the justice system just couldn't hold on to her.
Mind-blowing.
Yeah.
So did she ever have that new trial?
2 more trials. Both ended in mistrials.
Seriously, how does that even happen?
First one, juror conflict of interest. Second one, deadlocked jury. Leaning toward acquittal, though.
It's unbelievable. She just kept dodging those bullets. I have to ask, what was it about Sharon that made people believe her?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Was it charm, playing the victim, or just everyone giving her the benefit of the doubt because the evidence was so messy?
It's like a combination of factors all working in our favor. But you know what? It's exhausting just hearing about all these trials. I can only imagine what it was like for Sharon.
And facing another trial, I guess it was all just too much. She decided to run.
Run? Where'd she go?
Mexico. Vanished. Just like that. New love interest in tow, Frank Puglisi. And she left her children behind.
Wow, just abandoning her kids, that's cold. Shows you where her priorities were. Always putting herself first, no matter the cost.
And even in Mexico, trouble seemed to find her.
What happened this time?
Another violent incident. In a hotel room, she shoots and kills Francisco Paredes Ordonez. Claims self-defense after an attempted sexual assault.
Another shooting. Another death. Is this woman cursed?
The Mexican press dubbed her La Pistolera, the holster.
Fitting, isn't it? A woman seemingly always armed, literally and figuratively. Always ready with a gun and a dramatic story. But did she get away with it this time?
Not in Mexico. They caught her, convicted her, sentenced her to 10 years in prison.
Finally, some justice. Seems like her luck had finally run out.
But wait, there's more. After 5 years, she escapes, breaks out of a high-security prison.
Are you serious? She's like a Houdini of crime.
Authorities think she bribed her way out. Even behind bars, her manipulation skills were sharp.
This woman never ceases to amaze, but I bet they caught her again, right?
Nope. She disappeared.
You've got to be kidding me. She just vanishes again.
And here's the final kicker. Ballistics tests confirmed the gun from the Mexico shooting was the same one used to kill Patricia Jones back in Missouri.
No way. So they finally had concrete proof she killed Patricia.
But it was too late. Double jeopardy? You can't be tried for the same crime twice. The justice system had his hands tied.
That's just crazy. Talk about a slap in the face to justice.
Sharon Kin, the queen of close calls, vanished into thin air. No one knows where she is or if she's even alive.
So the woman who seemingly charmed and manipulated her way out of every corner just disappears. It's like something out of a movie.
It's a story that leaves you with more questions than answers. Was she a criminal mastermind? Just lucky. Or a product of a system that failed at every turn? I mean, it's just wild, right? The whole story.
It really is. So many twists and turns, dead ends. It's a real head-scratcher.
And it makes you think, what was behind that? That facade.
Yeah.
She seemed like a loving mom, a victim, even got into religion for a bit. But her actions, totally different story.
Right. Two completely different sides to this woman. A real disconnect between her persona and what she was actually doing. Hurting people, even her own kids.
It's scary how easily we could be fooled by appearances. I mean, she was a chameleon.
Absolutely. Changing her colors, adapting to whatever situation, whatever role she needed to play. And she played it well, convincing so many people, even when the evidence was right there.
Yeah, it's almost like the system, the police, the courts, everyone, they were all playing catch-up.
They were. And she was always one step ahead, exploiting those weaknesses, those blind spots. It makes you wonder, are there more Sharon Kinnas out there, just waiting to slip through the cracks?
Oh, that's a chilling thought.
Yeah.
But, her story, it's more than just one woman's crimes, right?
No, for sure. It's a mirror reflecting bigger problems, societal issues.
Like what?
Like how we view women, this idea that they're harmless, incapable of violence, and the way law enforcement, sometimes they just don't see it, they don't dig deep enough.
Because of those assumptions.
Exactly. We make judgments based on appearances, on those surface-level narratives. We don't question, we don't demand proof, and people like Sharon, they take advantage of that.
So what can we learn from all this? What's the takeaway for all of us listening?
I think at its core, it's about critical thinking. Don't just take things at face value. Question everything, analyze, look for evidence.
Don't be so quick to believe what you see or hear.
Right. And don't be afraid to hold people accountable, especially those in power.
It's also about, standing up for what's right, speaking for those who can't speak for themselves.
Absolutely. We need to be those voices, pushing for a system that's fair, transparent, just. We might never know what happened to Sharon, where she ended up, but her story, it stays with us.
A reminder, right, a reminder to look closer, to think harder, to never stop seeking the truth.
Exactly. And with that, well, we've reached the end of our deep dive.
More questions than answers, that's for sure.
The mystery of Sharon Kin lives on.
But hey, that's what makes these stories so fascinating, right?
It keeps us thinking, keeps us engaged.
So until next time, keep those minds curious and keep asking those tough questions.
We'll be back with another deep dive soon.